Hey Paulo, we're here today just taking a look at the shell of your house. I just want to give you an overview of what that long email I wrote you. Thought it might be easier for me to just shoot a quick video of what we plan to do, which aren't connected to anything in between each other. They're just sunken in cement and concrete and steel. You can see how the land's just cracking and it's tearing it apart. If this had any weight on it, the whole thing would shift, fall down. So what we plan to do is first build a big French drain on either side, on the north end and on the west end, all the way out, with gravel in it, packed in gravel and a perforated 4-inch pipe underneath, plastic pipe, super inexpensive, perforated on the top. So when the water comes rushing in, flows, hits the tube and then out. You're lucky enough here to have the La Vista has all these beautiful drains like we would back in the States. So we'll just run those pipes out into the drains because we're going to need to give time for our footings, the new foundation to set. So to prevent, these pouring down rains overnight from ruining the work that we did the previous day, first thing we need to do is put in this French drain. So you can see what the guys did. It's kind of misshapen concrete holes where they put the wood pillar just right down into it, sunken right down in. They might have put tar on it, but that's still, it didn't do the trick. You can see over here where termites and water damage. That's mainly water rot. Now you're having a lot of termite damage, but that's not the main cause of your foundation and these pillars to be going bad. It's rot, and that's due to the fact that this cement, first off, no one ever used a vibrator or anything to get the mixture itself to gel and uniform. So because of that, there's a lot of air holes in it, perforated, and all those air holes fill up with water as the seasons change. If it rains, any of that water expands, moves around, and eventually gets into the wood. Not only that, but right here on the seam, all that rainwater is just going right in there. It's getting locked in there, right? Water and wood. It's just creating rot. So what our plan to fix it is to create your entire foundation as one whole skeletal system, all connected. So they'll be all connected underground by vigas, and each footing where each of these pillars will be, where all the weight's going to come down, will be much deeper, much bigger, have your steel columns in it, and have cement. The only difference is what we would do is raise it up, not much further off the ground than this. Of course, it would be more uniform, more square, and flatten it off to all the exact same level across it. Before we finish our pillars, what we would do is sink in, you could look at it almost like an upside down T. A plate metal, sink in, big burly plate metal, sink directly in. So all you would have left after all this fine cement, which would be vibrated and done correctly, all connected underground by 1/2-inch steel, big columns, all connected, so it's all one skeletal system. It'll be completely finished with this big burly piece, flat 4-inch piece of plate metal sticking out of the ground. Drill 2 holes in there, take the end of, save whatever of these pillars that we still can. Obviously we'll have to figure out which ones are good, which ones aren't, once we do what we call a selective demo, taking it apart piece by piece rather than just knocking it down. We figure out which ones work for you, which ones will still work, which ones are still structurally sound. Cut a groove right through the middle of them, slip it right over top of that T, bolt it. So it's completely bolted to the T, resting either on a rubber gasket or just itself, not allowing for any water. We can trim it out, finish it with trim, make it look good, but not allowing any water to actually get underneath it for the wood to suck it up. And before we would put it in contact with the cement itself, even dry cement, we'd finish the bottoms with boat resin like we had talked about. Okay, so you can see here is just another view of the damage caused by the rains coming off of that hill because there's no drainage around your house. You can see this pillar here is not connected to any steel underneath the ground, which is supposed to connect each other footing to create a skeletal system. Not only is this dangerous in heavy rains if you don't have drainage, but in an earthquake situation, you can see as well, your bodega needs to be completely redone. Again, if we're going to take apart your entire roof structure, take all these pillars down, and do our selective demo, everything's going to need to come down. You can take a look at this. This, again, isn't worth salvaging. That's your concrete brick wall. You can see over here, you can see the cracks in the wall over here as well, as it was just fitted up against your eucalyptus right there. Again, more tracks of termites. Now this whole thing is just rotting out from the bottom. Just concrete butted up next to your wood. I don't know if you can hear that hollow. Standing in what's going to be your kitchen hallway area on your upper outdoor hangout zone. And I just wanted to show you why we can't continue to use these floor trusses or wooden beams across for anything interior, especially not if you're going to be putting your refrigerator, stove top, island, concrete island top with your granite and the whole nine here with actual walls. It just won't support it, even if we do your hardwood. I attached some photos on your email of why the casita across the street from your house floor is warped and why it won't last the next year and a half. So this stuff is really going to need to be preserved for all of your exterior decking, and I think you have more than enough exterior decking to use everything we have inside here. Everything up in the ceilings, all of your cross beams, everything, all this eucalyptus can be reused as handrails for everything outside, inside, all custom furniture. We can do a lot of really cool creative stuff with all this material. Save it all. Hey, I'm standing in your covered outdoor chill zone area, which we can do a number of things. I know that probably to save a little bit of money, you might just want to deck this, just like we would deck any of your exterior deckings. Okay, so right now we're standing in the middle of what's going to be your bathroom, and I was hopefully, if you're on board, we can, like I said, go forward with the Green Solutions insulated foam paneling system, which will cut down a ton of time and really a ton of money for you. It's super fast, super efficient to work with. So this is where your bathroom's going to be, just like we had talked about, out onto your landing, in your doors, just like your renderings. And then of course this we're going to completely get rid of, break down, save everything we need for the decking and everything like we had explained, and redo the foundation. Now here, I really kind of stress, at least in this corner, to really concentrate on our footings going all the way up at one level. Again, we can do those wood pillars to make it cosmetically nice in the corner where you'll be able to see it. But for the most part, this general area you won't be able to see because of your big deck system that you've got going on. Okay, so this is kind of halfway. Actually, I'm standing right in where your hallway is going to be, and your door out onto your big back deck from the hallway dividing your master bedroom and your second bedroom. Now, I know we had talked about this, and I really like the idea of a lot of natural light. For a couple of reasons. Mainly to save you energy during the day. You don't have to run any lights, and it's just so nice to have natural light, especially here in Nicaragua, because even if it is a rainy season, it's only raining at night. It's always sunny down here. So like we said, I was going to wrap the whole place in windows, which the insulated foam paneling system will cut in automatically for us. So when they come out and they deliver all of the material for us, we put it together like block pieces, and then we'll mud over it, and it'll be completely sealed, like as if it was adobe on the outside. And there's a couple of things we can do. We can do the same thing on the inside, or we can drywall the inside to give you a little bit more diversity when it comes to paint and that kind of thing, whatever you want to do. We can also custom do skylights for the roofing. I definitely want to do one for you in the bathroom. I think it's a huge thing to always have natural light in your bathroom, as well as skylights over the bed in either one of these master bedrooms is a complete option. And that's pretty much it. Again, knock this down, bring it out 5 feet. You'll see that on the floor plan that I'm going to email you, and bring your deck, your big wraparound deck. I guess the last thing that we'll talk about is probably one of the first things that we should think about and we should do. And I was thinking at the lowest point, again, because you'll have your retaining wall, small retaining wall, Piedra Cantera retaining wall in front of your French drain on the north and west end of the house. They're the lowest end where our pipes can come through, I think is where we want to put our septic and leach field. We can start here, and I would do a 3-part composting septic tank system, which would basically be like digging a well, how they do down here. Big round hole about 2 meters deep, lined in brick, only just a little bit wider, getting progressively a little bit smaller and smaller on the 3rd tier, with tied into each other. By the time you get down to the 3rd, solids, scum and liquids, and then mainly just liquids down at the end. You'll have a leach field runoff, which will run perfectly to the edge of your property line. And with 1 bathroom, or even if you wanted to expand and do 2 or even 3 bathrooms, I don't see us really needing more than 2 drain fields. So a drain field is just the same thing. It's almost the opposite of a French drain. It's big 4-inch pipe, but perforated on the bottom. Bottom's laying on at least a good 1.5 meters of this stuff they either call hormigon or piedrine, which is just it's just gravel-like material, big 1/2-inch gravel, so it won't get inside those holes. But all the runoff, which after three sections of your tank, is just basically gray water. And all your shower, everything will be pumped through your septic as well, creating all that good bacteria to eat all your toilet paper, so you don't have to worry about throwing your toilet paper in the trash can like a lot of places down here. You'll be able to flush all your paper, everything will go right through. And if you can see over here, in these trees is where I'd like to put a long bodega, big long temporary bodega, which is just zinc for a roofing, and a quick little place to lock up. Again, it's so nice that we get to build in this community, because we don't have to worry about thieves. It's not the same as any. Our price does include a cuidador, and we'd like to have one of our guys always sitting around here, just making sure that little things don't go missing here and there. Not that they would, but I want to make it nice and long enough so that we can store these long pillars, because if any of them are really good, I don't want to mess up any of the integrity of the wood itself while we're storing them high and dry under the bodega, which is also where we'll put all of our cement, all of our tools, anything that we want to keep dry in our temporary bodega. That's going to be the very first thing we're going to need to do. Build the bodega, build the French drain system, and then the rest, we'll take it from there. So I'll shoot you out an email, and hopefully you get the photos and everything, and we'll talk to you soon, Paulo. Sweet.